Lagos mornings were never quiet. The distant rumble of Danfo buses, the impatient honking of Kiki drivers, and the voices of traders calling out their wares all blended into the city's restless heartbeat. In a small one-room apartment in Surulere, Adewale sat at the edge of his worn mattress, staring at his neatly ironed shirt hanging on the wall. The shirt was the only one he owned that still looked interview-ready. His mother had pressed it the night before, humming softly even though she had nothing for dinner except Gary and groundnuts. "You'll get that job today, my son," she had told him. "Just remember, no matter what happens, keep your dignity. Money can finish, but character will follow you forever." Adewale smiled faintly at the memory. He had graduated 2 years ago with a degree in business management, but jobs were scarce. The little he earned from doing small bookkeeping for market traders barely kept the rent paid. This interview was more than an opportunity. It was a lifeline. Across town in a cramped, self-contained room in Yaba, Chaik was also dressing for the same interview. His situation was different. His father had once been a civil servant, and his family enjoyed some comfort. But after his father's sudden death, debts piled up, and his mother sold most of their belongings to survive. Chaik had studied abroad for a year before the money ran out, returning to Nigeria with only a partially completed course, but carrying himself as if he had graduated from an Ivy League university. To Chaik, today wasn't about proving his worth. It was about reclaiming the life he felt he deserved. He had convinced himself that in Lagos, confidence mattered more than compassion, and connections mattered more than humility. The two men had met months earlier at a government employment seminar and bonded over their job hunt. Despite their different personalities, Adewale's quiet humility and Chaik's loud ambition, they often shared leads and walked to interviews together. This morning, they met at Ojalegba bus stop, greeting each other with a firm handshake. "My guy," Chaik grinned, adjusting his tie. "Today we enter that building and walk out with offer letters. No excuses." Adewale nodded. "God's will, my brother." They boarded a bus toward the island, their minds full of hopes, their hearts beating to different rhythms. One saw the interview as a test of skill, the other as a stage to showcase swagger. Neither knew that before they reached the company's glass doors, a choice was waiting, one that would change their lives forever. The Danfo bus rattled along Third Mainland Bridge, its cracked windows framing the hazy skyline of Lagos Island. Chaik and Adewale sat shoulder to shoulder, swaying with every bump. When the bus dropped them off near Broad Street, they stepped into the chaos of the morning rush. Corporate workers in sharp suits hurried past. Okada riders weaved recklessly between cars, and roadside sellers balanced trays of puff-puff and gala on their heads. They were halfway to the company's headquarters, a tall glass building that gleamed under the rising sun, when Adewale slowed down. Up ahead, on the shoulder of the road, a middle-aged woman stood beside a dusty Toyota Corolla, bonnet propped open, steam rising from the engine. She waved frantically at passers-by, her face tight with frustration. "Chaik, that woman looks stranded," Adewale said, stopping in his tracks. Chaik barely glanced in her direction. "And so, my guy, this is Lagos. People have their own problems. We have an interview in 30 minutes. If we're late, that's it. Opportunity gone." Adewale hesitated, but it's clear she needs help. Chaik scoffed. "Look, the right thing right now is to get that job. Or do you think I dressed in my only clean shirt just to sweat under a broken-down car? I don't even know her. Let's go." Adewale looked at the woman again. Her desperation reminded him of his mother's words from the night before. "Money can finish, but character will follow you forever. If you want to go, fine," Adewale said quietly. "But I'm staying to help." Chaik shook his head. "Suit yourself. Just don't come crying when I'm the one signing the employment letter." With that, he marched toward the company. Adewale walked up to the woman. "Good morning, madam. What happened?" She let out a long sigh. "Ah, young man, thank God you stopped. The car just refused to start. Can you help me push it so I can try again?" Rolling up his sleeves, Adewale helped her push. His shoes scraped the hot asphalt. His shirt clung to his back with sweat. "All right, madam, try now." The engine coughed and then roared to life. She smiled warmly. "God bless you. I don't even know how to thank you." "No need, madam." Adewale said with a smile. If you're heading toward Broad Street, maybe you could drop me part of the way. Of course. I'll wait just a moment. She pulled out her phone. Hello. What? Oh no. I'm coming immediately. She turned to him, her face apologetic. I'm so sorry, dear. There's an emergency. I have to go straight to the hospital. I can't give you that ride anymore. Adewale stepped back as she drove off, the sound of her tires fading into the traffic. Alone in the heat, he muttered to himself, maybe Chike was right. I should have gone straight to the interview. Inside the air-conditioned reception of the company, Chike stood tall, handing his CV to the secretary, Miss Funk, a middle-aged woman with sharp eyes and a professional smile. Good morning, young man, she said. Kindly introduce yourself. My name is Chike. I'm 26 years old. I graduated from the University of Ibadan with a degree in business administration, specializing in international trade, he said confidently. She nodded, scanning his CV. And why do you believe you're the right fit for this role? Chike's eyes glistened with ambition. Because I have the expertise to take this company to the top. I'll make it stand out from all competitors and become the most sought after in the industry. Miss Funk smiled. Well said. You're hired. Chike almost punched the air, but manager restrained. Thank you for this opportunity. Moments later, Adewale rushed into the building, panting slightly. Good morning, madam. I'm here to interview for the role of administrative director. Her smile faded. You're late, and that position has already been filled. Besides, your CV doesn't match the specific qualifications we require. Rules are rules. But madam, no buts, she cut in. This is Lagos. Punctuality is everything. From the waiting area, Chike smirked. I warned you, Adewale. You wasted time helping that woman and lost a great opportunity. Adewale lowered his gaze, swallowing his disappointment. Thank you for your time, madam, he murmured, turning to leave. Wait, Miss Funk called out. There's a position available, but not in administration. His eyes lit up. Yes, madam. What position? Janitor, she said plainly, watching his reaction. Do you accept? Adewale hesitated, his pride tugging at him. For cleaning? That's not what I came for, madam. I'm a qualified man. That's not my business, she interrupted. The question was simple. Do you accept or not? He drew a deep breath. All right, I accept. Good. Pick up your uniform and cleaning supplies at reception. Start immediately, she instructed before turning back to her desk. From across the hall, Chike chuckled quietly as Adewale walked away. See your life? He whispered under his breath. Chike followed Miss Funk down a long corridor, his footsteps echoing against the polished tiles. They entered a spacious, sunlit office with a large mahogany desk, leather chair, and neatly stacked files. So, Chike, she began, this will be your office from today. In that cabinet are documents for you to work on. The director will arrive shortly to give further instructions. He beamed. Thank you, madam. This office is beautiful. A few minutes later, the door swung open. A tall, elegant woman with rich brown skin and perfectly styled hair walked in, wearing a flowing Ankara gown that radiated authority. Good morning, director, Miss Funk greeted. Good morning, the woman replied, glancing at Chike. And you are? I'm Chike, the new administrative director, he said proudly. She studied his face for a moment. Do we know each other? Your face looks familiar. No, madam, Chike replied quickly. I think you're mistaken. Strange, she muttered. Anyway, Chike, there's a task list on your computer. I expect it completed before the end of the day. Understood. Yes, madam, he replied confidently. Meanwhile, Adewale stood in the janitor's closet, buttoning up his uniform. The smell of disinfectant filled the small space. He picked up his broom and mop, determined not to let the job break his spirit. As he wheeled his cleaning cart past the director's office, Chike glanced up from his desk. Adewale, sweeping suits you, he teased. Better get used to it. Adewale ignored him, focusing instead on wiping a desk near the window. But as he moved aside a stack of papers, his sharp eyes caught something. The reports Chike had been working on. He frowned. The figures didn't add up. Adewale thought. If this goes through, the company might lose serious money. He approached Chike cautiously. My guy, these numbers look off. Should I help you fix them? Chike looked up, smirking. Do you think you know more than me? I studied abroad. Go clean the toilets, I beg. Knowledge is for people like me, not you. Adewale sighed and walked away, but not before glancing back at the files with concern. Later that afternoon, Director Kimmy entered Miss Funk's office with a furrowed brow. Funk, have you seen these reports? The calculations are all wrong. Who prepared them? Chike, madam. He said he was using new strategies, Funk replied. Kimmy shook her head. New strategies that will run us into debt. No, no, no. Let's go talk to him. They found Chike typing confidently at his desk. Chike, Kimmy said sharply, explain this to me. Why have you ordered 800 units of products we no longer use? And why are these figures so inaccurate? He leaned back casually. Madam, it's all part of an inventory rotation plan. Trust me, it's strategic. Kimmy's lips tightened. Strategy is useless if it's based on wrong data. We'll fix this ourselves. Continue with whatever you're doing. As she walked out, her eyes fell on Adewale mopping the corridor. Recognition flickered in her mind, but she didn't speak. Yet. Not long after, Kimmy spotted Adewale in the hallway again. She stopped. Excuse me, aren't you the young man who helped me with my car this morning? Adewale smiled faintly. Yes, madam. That was me. I didn't even get to thank you properly for giving me the chance to help. You work here now? She asked. Yes, madam. As a janitor. I arrived a little late for the interview, so that's the position I got, he replied. Kimmy's brows knitted. Was it my fault? Because I couldn't give you a ride? He shook his head. No, madam. Life just happened. I'm grateful to have any work at all. Kimmy stared at him for a moment, sensing his humility. All right, carry on, she said softly. But as she left, she noticed something. Adewale had paused by Chike's desk, fixing the same flawed report from earlier without being asked. Adewale was quietly at Chike's desk, pencil in hand, adjusting figures, cross-checking data, and scribbling corrections on a notepad. His brow furrowed in concentration as he worked through each page. Kimmy, who had lingered in the doorway without being noticed, stepped closer. Adewale, did you just fix these reports? Startled, he turned. Madam Director, I know this isn't my duty, but I saw mistakes, and I didn't want the company to lose money. I thought maybe if I corrected them, it would help. She took the papers from him, scanning the pages. Her eyes widened. You spotted all these errors in minutes. Yes, madam, he said modestly. I studied business management at LASU. I may be wearing a janitor's uniform, but I still carry my training with me. Kimmy exhaled slowly. Impressive. She called out, Funk, come here and look at this. Moments later, Kimmy, Funk, and Adewale entered Chike's office. Chike looked up, confused. Director Kimmy, why are you with him? And why is he holding my reports? Kimmy's voice was calm but firm. Because I asked him to fix them, something you should have done right the first time. These calculations are completely wrong. The product order's unnecessary, and the spelling errors embarrassing. Chike's smile faltered. Madam, with all due respect, I have years of experience. I studied abroad. I know what I'm doing. Experience means nothing if you cannot deliver results, Kimmy replied coldly. Adewale, on the other hand, not only corrected your mistakes, but did so in minutes, without being asked and with accuracy. Chike's face darkened. Are you trying to say? I'm not trying, Kimmy cut in. I'm saying it clearly. Chike, you are no longer the administrative director of this company. Effective immediately. A shocked silence filled the room. Chike's mouth opened, but no words came out. As for you, Adewale, Kimmy continued, you will take his place as the new administrative director. You have the skill, the eye for detail, and the integrity this company needs. Adewale's eyes widened. Madam, are you serious? I'm grateful. You won't regret this. I know I won't, Kimmy said with a small smile. And it's not just your intelligence, it's your character. This morning, both of you passed me when my car broke down. Chike ignored me, but you stopped to help, even though you were also headed to the interview. That kind of selflessness is rare. Chike shifted uncomfortably, his pride wounded. Madam, this isn't fair. The only fairness here, Kimmy interrupted, is rewarding competence and compassion. That's how I run my company. Kimmy turned to Chike. Now, since Adewale is moving into the director's position, the janitor role will be vacant. Would you like to take it? Chike's eyes bulged. Janitor? Me? Do you know I studied in London? I graduated from the best university there. You expect me to sweep floors? It's your choice, Kemi said plainly. Either take it or leave. Chike hesitated, weighing his pride against his need for income. Finally, he muttered, I'll take it. Good, Kemi replied. You'll find your uniform and cleaning supplies at the storeroom. Start immediately. Funk had a small smile as Chike shuffled out of the office. Kemi faced Adewale once more. Now, go and change out of that janitor uniform. You're a director now. Dress the part. Yes, madam, Adewale said, a grateful smile spreading across his face. Later that afternoon, Kemi called the staff together for a short announcement. Team, she began, I believe in rewarding not just skill, but also integrity. Today, I have promoted Adewale from janitor to administrative director because he has shown both. Let his story remind us that no matter your starting point, your actions define your future. The staff erupted in applause. Adewale, now in a smart gray suit, stood tall, humbled by the recognition. In a quiet corner, Chike mopped the floor, his thoughts heavy with the reality of how quickly pride could bring a man down. Kemi turned to Adewale with a knowing smile. Now let's get to work. This company has a future to build.